Hello. You are watching an informative video to learn more about an English word. Perfect. P-E-R-F-E-C-T. Perfect. Definitions of perfect. Adjective. Having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics, as good as it is possible to be. Perfect.
What's good, everybody? My name is Liam. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm here with the fantastic DW.
What's good, beautiful people? I am DW. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. And Liam and I, we've been kicking it since elementary school, and you are listening to What's Perfect Really podcast.
On this podcast, we talk about moments in music and the impact that those moments had on our lives, our friendship, and the world.
And our mission is to bring light to the perfect moments in music we think deserve a little more appreciation. And on today, we have a special, non-regular special episode. Can you tell people what it's about, Liam?
So we are making a version 2.0 to a previous episode that we did, which was Vincent and his performance of the song Creep from a talent show. When this song was originally recorded, it was from the jungles of Puerto Rico, and we had massive technical difficulties. We still released it anyways because we really did want to make sure that we, appreciated this song. However, if you listen to it, there's some challenges there. We wanted to make sure we revisited it to give it the proper love and appreciation it deserves. So here we are today for Vincent 2.0.
Yeah, let's get into it. Where you at, Liam? Where you at?
Technical difficulties today. Much like, okay, we're going to push through this. I feel good. I feel very good.
It's all good. Okay, so this you refer to it as a talent show, but I want to give the name of the show. It's actually called The Four. Mm-hmm. And it's a show on a major network, or it was a show on a major network. And this is season 1, the performance that we covered in 2018, where Vincent comes in and basically goes to work on the show, goes to work. You have your judges, you have your 4 contestants. When Vincent comes in, Vincent is a new person who has to challenge a contestant, which is one of the 4 that are sitting in the seats. Vincent comes in, places the challenge, and Vincent takes the seat of someone who's been there for weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks and dethrones this person.
So we've literally gone over this way more times than we should have, and I'm just still understanding it. There's the judges, the judge table, and then there are these other people that kind of floated up in the ether, and I didn't know who they were. And last time we talked, you clarified to me, they're also contestants. I was like, okay, they're also contestants. And I didn't realize that Vincent is actually gunning for one of their spots.
That's what it is.
So it just gets deeper each time I understand it more. At first, I was like, that's why they kind of have stone face. Like, this doesn't faze me. I'm stronger than this. He's actually going to take one of their, wow. Vincent's like the killer, like just coming up, like I'm coming to like the, like in jail when they're like, you have your lunch tray and there's like the big person.
I don't know.
he's coming to take their like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Oh, okay. That's why they're so nervous in their seats. Got it.
Well, I mean, to be real, the nervousness or how we interpret their nervousness, the shooketh-ness is because Vincent is the shit, that's where because when people are sitting in their seats, not everybody, they're not shook by everybody. But when Vincent came, it was, when I say shook ones, you could see the rumbles in people's chests, like, whoa, this is something.
Have you ever been nervous and like you're in a public space so people looking at you? Like all of a sudden you just need to swallow like one of those like those gulp things, and then you have to not do it. So you like look paralyzed. And I feel like they all looked like they needed to make this big gulp. And they were just like, they couldn't do it.
Vincent was snatching souls.
Thank you for clarifying.
And I wouldn't have wanted to be on the show. I was nervous. Yeah. I was nervous for the contestants. I was like, I was nervous.
Oh, wow.
I'm still kind of nervous when I watch it too. I'd be like, Vincent really came with the thing.
Wow.
So,
So there can only be 4 people. I'm sorry, are you explaining this very basic premise to me for the 10th time? And like, I should be further along in my understanding, but okay, I get it better now.
what the song that the performance we're talking about is Creep, Vincent's version of Creep, which is originally written by Radiohead. And Vincent goes on, and what I'm understanding is like a cult classic type of song.
Definitely.
And so Vincent is bringing this song and bringing these lyrics along, and it's masterful. And I think that, and you get these reactions, and I'm curious, before we go into it, actually, let me just pause us.
Yeah.
Ask you about your perfect moment before last time we've seen each other.
Yeah. I've cooked hamburgers my whole life. I've done a very bad job. I thought there was something wrong with me, the person cooking these hamburgers. I recently bought a grill, like, when you think of like the back patio, fire and all the stuff. And then I cooked hamburgers on a grill and they were amazing. And I finally have realized that there's nothing wrong with me. It was only the tools I had at my disposal. So now I can cook perfect hamburgers. That's my perfect moment of the week.
Oh man, you know what you're explaining?
What's that?
Explaining being black in the world.
Can you elaborate this?
There's nothing wrong with us. It's just the world. We never have the tools.
Yeah.
We never have the tools. Yep. Nothing like some woke Olympic expressions in the beginning of the show. Where would we be?
I don't feel qualified to fully speak on the black experience yet, but I'm glad that.
Yet. Never. Say never.
Never. But I mean that I think, yeah.
But reflect on your experience of the black experience.
Now I have an even deeper appreciation for my hamburger cooking experience.
Having the right tools. Oh, for me, yes. I watched Teenage. I love teenage coming of age stories. It's a relatable experience for you. I know, Liam.
Teenage.
When it comes on, it's just stuck in front of the TV. I was watching this show called First Kill. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. There are vampires. There are monster killers. There is queer love. It's all you need. It's all you need. There's diversity to some extent,
like
again,
weird, like forced diversity or like just organic, seemingly diversity.
Debatable. I mean, but there's always, like I said, when you look at different things, you can find issue with certain things if you want to. Mm-hmm. However, if it is a teenage drama, I am there. It doesn't matter. I will stretch all of my sensibilities to watch a show like this. So, oh man, I'm almost done with it. Done with it because, like I said, it has monsters, witches, ghouls, goblins, zombies, vampires, legacy vampires, monster hunters.
Does it have jokes? Is it like Twilight, like serious and dramatic all the time? Or is it like, I don't know if there's a vampire show with jokes, but
I would call it more drama.
Okay.
More drama and like steamy sequences.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know it's steamy. And like, okay, so here's a question.
Yeah.
Before we go on. When you watch these steamy teenage sequences, like, how do you feel about it? Because, I have to look up the cast and I'd be like, yo, most cast members are not teenagers when they're playing teenagers.
Like 30.
Right. Yeah, which is like it's dishonest.
Yeah.
Right. But then how would people really feel if we were watching 16-year-olds kissing each other on TV and having these steamy scenes? I feel like there's so much, it's loaded. It's loaded.
I think so. Okay. I'm gonna go like to the far extreme. Mm-hmm. I think most of the time you're watching it, they do a sanitized version of this and the example. And so it doesn't feel weird. The example where they did a non-sanitized version. And I also think in this example, the cast was extremely young also of ages that weren't technically appropriate, but is reality of the world we live in. Remember that movie Kids?
Ooh, oh gosh, yes.
And that's what I mean. Like that sits very, like it feels weird and awkward and terrible when you watch it. And maybe because that's actually a more accurate depiction of what is going on in the world, where these kind of like shows for pop culture are a more sanitized version. Obviously, I haven't seen First Kill, so.
Yeah, facts. All right. Yeah. Since we've last covered this performance and that the dynamics of it, I noticed that you seem to be taken by it a little bit more.
I've had a journey with the song, yeah.
How are you feeling about it now?
I think it's perfect now.
Of course you do.
You've convinced me. Well, life has convinced me that this is perfect.
Vincent has convinced you.
Vincent has confirmed that, has convinced me this is perfect. I'll explain to you my journey with the song, and I'll try to do it as concise.
Possible.
So you presented this to me first. I clicked on it. It had Puffy and DJ Khaled. And like, I don't know, some of the people there were, I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, that's a crazy hairdo. And I know that's problematic, but I just mean like, it was a lot for me to visually process. And I also love the original song Creep. And anytime you kind of committed and you've developed this relationship with a song, you're protective of it. And you're like, who's this stranger trying to fuck with my song? And I liked it. I dug it. I got all the things you appreciated about it, but I was still like, I don't think it's perfect. And then later, as our show began to grow and develop, we made a playlist that I'm responsible for populating and updating. And on YouTube, you watch the video with the song. So you see the visual and the audio at the same time. Spotify also has it as a standalone audio experience, which is on our Spotify playlist. And when I had to put this on a Spotify playlist, I had to listen to it while driving. And for the first time, I got to hear the song solely as a Vincint experience. And it was fucking perfect. It blew me away. And in hindsight, I think I'm really distracted. Puffy is a very distracting fucking presence. DJ Khaled is a very distracting presence. I didn't know who the judges were and who the other people floating up in the sky were. It was visual overload. So when I heard it on its own, it just really made me understand that this is Vincint's, like, he's pouring his soul out. Like, he really is giving everything he has. And when I heard it that way, I was like, I get it now. This is a perfect moment.
I don't know. I mean, beautifully said. I don't know Vincint's pronouns. I'm gonna go for Vincint. I'm gonna challenge us to stay in Vincint lane.
I will try
because of that. But what we talk about masterful performances, when you think about good versus great, and what all of the pieces align. And Vincint, what was magnificent about this performance? And we talk about this before, but I'm, going into it is like, Vincint is intentional about movements, stage presence, how to elevate the presence around the stage, where you're moving stage left, in the center stage, front of stage, dropping the mic, changing levels of the body, not just staying at one level, but dimensions, giving dynamics in the performance. And it makes it masterful, because you're looking at somebody who's, for me, I'm looking at that person who's like, this is intentional. And it doesn't look intentional. At least that's my feeling. Like, you have your moments, you have your freestyle moments, but Vincint thought about, all right, I'm going to do this way, or I'm going to do this that way, especially when you put in relationship to the arrangement. It reminds me of, excuse me a second. It reminds me of this arrangement. I mean, this performance at the Apollo. The Apollo had this celebration. No, it was like an award show or something like that. I don't know all the pieces, but it was recently, within the year maybe. And Maxwell was being honored. And there were a couple other people that were being honored. And there were a couple other performances that went on before Maxwell's performance. And they had dancers, and they were good. They were good performances. Maxwell gets on, and it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And what's so great about it, Maxwell is just Maxwell with the band and, the backup singers, but Maxwell's on the stage, and oh my gosh, Maxwell gets off the stage. Maxwell's just singing Maxwell's ass off. And then you have this person come down to the stage, grown ass, looks like 50, 60-year-old person throwing
Someone's
panties
auntie
on the stage. Like, it's not, it's not a regular crowd, it's like an award show, and still, this is happening. And Maxwell just, it ain't no thing. Like, I do it all the time. I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna rock, I'm gonna sing my ass off. And that was what Vincint did. Yeah. And if I were on the floor, like I said, I felt nervous for them, because I'm like, yo, I don't want to ever go up against Vincint. Like I told, Vincint is my friend. In my head, Vincint is my friend.
You want
That's
no
my
smoke,
homie.
yeah.
Like, Vincint, invite me out. I'm chilling. We kikiing, we doing all the things together. I'm good. I feel like I would fit in with your group. I'm flexible. I'm a Cancer. I'm like water. This is my pitch. So I'm malleable. We could chill. I appreciate shit. I don't be fangirl and fanboying over stuff like that or whatever. But it's masterful. It's masterful. And I'm glad I've come to terms with the perfection of it.
I really have. And again, the thing that I didn't hit on that you just hit on again is when you put good next to great, it really is a part of what makes it so perfect. It's this ability to quickly just see, like it's clear how great this is. And I guess that's an example you have when you're on a talent show.
And even since then, Vincent has been booked and busy. And I think that that's a testament to the way that I experienced Vincent on the show, and their personality is that I'm serious about the things that I'm doing. I'm silly. I have a lot of personality to me. I have a lot of depth to me, and I also take performance seriously. I take my job seriously. And I think that, booking, I would book Vincent for sure, because I know I'm going to get exactly what I'm looking for.
I think one thing that dawned on me too is I didn't know Vincent until you brought Vincent up. And one of the reasons we're re-recording this episode is because even though there were technical difficulties in our previous episode, we can follow who's listening to which episode, like which episodes really gain the most traction, have the most popularity. And Vincent's episode, even with the technical difficulties, really had this kind of constant stream of people who were clicking on it and interested in it. And to me, that really spoke to the fact that there are real dedicated cult following who seek Vincent out, not just casually bump into him, but will find Vincent material in whatever shape and form it is. And, that's a testament. When artists have that impact on fans, that is a special thing.
And those are the kind of fans we enjoy. People who are intentional, love their art, like to dissect and throw it down, because that means you're listening to us.
Yeah, you're our people.
You're our people. And check this out. Write to us and let us know, because we've been debating about whether or not to take that Vincent, the first episode, down. I do think there's some great things that we shared there, but you can't really. It's not the level of quality that the rest of our episodes have. Shout out to the engineer. AKA Liam.
Yeah, it tried.
It's not the quality that we would like, but I also think that there's some beauty in that as well. So maybe y'all write in and let us know, and then I'll give you the information at the end of the show. But more about Vincent. The piece is, when I say Vincent is booked and busy, let's talk about even after the 4 performances at Coachella that are getting written up in Rolling Stone. Because again, I stalk Vincent on Vincent's page. Let me rephrase that. I don't stalk you, Vincent, because that's not friend behavior.
Yeah.
Right. But I cheerlead you. Right. Yeah. So I go to your page and I check it out, and I'd be like, yo, Vincent, you doing a thing. Yes, it is Gay Pride Month right now. So Vincent is very, very booked and busy out here doing all the incredible things, just giving all the things to in all of its fabulousness. Iconic, super iconic, in the words of Z-Way. So Vincent did actually release EPs and an album. There's an album that Vincent released, There Will Be Tears, in 2021. And I was listening to it, reflecting on it, reading a little bit of some articles and information about it. And what I love, there's an expression or a way that Vincent expressed about the album that I thought was pretty incredible, because I didn't think about it that way, which was a non-binary approach to music. And I was like, ooh, fascinating. Tell me more, Vincent. So then I read more. Yeah. And it was about embracing the sadness and the dreariness and the happiness that can coexist in music. And so having, when you look at someone like Sam Smith, it's just ballad, but having these ballads on dance, right? And having these ballads that are interchangeably mixed with other type of energy on it, and playing with those things. And I thought that was very interesting to see the evolution of how Vincent is interpreting Vincent's own image in the way that Vincent wants to approach and live and walk within the music that they're creating, that Vincent is creating.
I don't know if I'm hitting exactly on if I'm like dovetailing this correctly, but there's a duality in this Creep performance that really resonated with me, which is, on the one hand, Vincent is being extremely vulnerable, and almost you feel like you're seeing a part of Vincent that they don't want to show you, that's they're self-conscious about. And then on the other hand, Vincent is completely confident, like, I'm owning this space, this stage, and this performance. And it's cool to see both those things happening at the same time. It's like I feel, how sometimes when you listen to music, you're satisfying certain emotions within yourself that, again, you're allowing yourself to feel these things. And on the one hand, I'm allowing myself to feel this vulnerability. On the other hand, I feel like I'm a bad motherfucker and I'm about to like destroy anything in front of me. And both those things are happening in the same performance, which is, I think that's pretty unique.
And to see Vincint perform, and when I look at Vincint's evolution from Creep in that moment and being on a show that's just very, very hetero, you know, like this is what it is. If you say certain things, it's going to get cut. And then Vincint actually said in a couple of interviews that there were so many things that Vincint did say that, and a lot of it was cut out in the show. But it was about the representation, seeing somebody who's dark, who looks like Vincint, who is doing the things that Vincint is doing, and being there so people can see themselves and how important that was or is for Vincint, you know, and being able to, for me to really relate to that, you know, I think when I think about music and my life and performance, I see myself in certain times, in certain spaces where you're like, oh, here's this person with, you know, when you're younger, let me back up.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing yourself matters. Being able to see people do the things you do do the things you want to do, or creating the space for those things to happen, it matters. And I didn't realize how much that mattered until I really got older, because when I started to see myself in music, it's kind of when we talk about hip hop and we talk about the misogyny scale, the misogynoir scale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see myself. All I see is myself being verbally assaulted in so many different ways. And that doesn't make it seem like I want to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be in or exchanging. But then when you start to see yourself, even when you have the story, the biographies that come out of all these femmes and these women that existed that are now being highlighted on platforms that are not just in Hollywood. So you're able to see these stories like Roxanne Shante and how skilled we've always been.
Mm-hmm.
But people have kind of hidden those things in the back. But seeing those things have created a sense of bravery, and it's affirmed me in certain ways that I wasn't affirmed. And even in gender dynamics or understanding gender, and understanding myself as a person, seeing someone like Vincint is affirming. And I can't imagine how many people are affirmed by Vincint just by their actual presence and who they are. Because there's so many other artists, like when you get a lot of queer people, it's, you know, like you said, the token, you'll get a token person as everybody's like extroverted or funny and all that stuff. And I can be those things, but I'm more of an introvert and very intentional about certain things. And when I look at Vincint, I see some of those pieces in it. It's really exciting for me to see those things reflected back.
It's funny. I was going to do this like experiment with you, but you kind of answered the question already. And was this performance your first time experiencing Vincint?
The Creep performance?
The Creep performance.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So we both had that same experience of first time we're seeing and experiencing Vincint. It's in the same thing, not the same time, but the same presentation. Mm-hmm. And I think you answered it because I was going to ask you about this. And, you know, this is where you and I do have totally different perspectives. So when I see Vincint, and again, I'm not projecting that my visions of what I see Vincint as are correct, but this is how it impacts me immediately. And this obviously shapes my initial impressions and what I expect out of something. Is I see Black, male, and gay. And of course, I am not those things. I'm male. But I had to kind of think about that and reflect on that a bit. And how does that potentially skew how I was experiencing this thing in the beginning? And maybe that's also part of why it didn't resonate as quote unquote perfect for me. Because I'm like navigating through all this. And it sounds to me like for you, it connected for you more immediately than it did for me. Like your experience seeing Vincint step on stage and be, this first 30 seconds of Vincint talking and then singing right away, you had an immediate connection to Vincint that I was slower to come. And I'm going to have a different connection to Vincint in a different experience. But hearing what you said versus my own thoughts on how I immediately handled the situation, it's just interesting, you know. We're similar in a lot of ways, but I think we experience things differently in a lot of ways too.
And I think that's what makes our relationship unique. And I think about it too in when you travel in the world, and when people say that relationships like ours can't exist, like, you know, the world has all this different diversity. I mean, especially when we're talking about being in North America, and it's the choice to exist. You know, knowing like, okay, we have these very big differences, and we have these commonalities, and what is our sameness, and how can we also recognize that our differences are there? And you know, chances are your salary is going to be higher than mine, you know, or even in our lifetime, even when we have conversations, I'm like, there's points of me that I'm like kind of have this envy or jealousy because I'm like, yo, I'm going to have to work so much harder to get the salary that you're just going to get. You're just going to get it, you know, and it doesn't mean that you haven't worked hard. It doesn't mean that you haven't put in the time and the effort, but you're seen more than I am, you know, and it's work for us to be in relationship with each other. It's work because you're in this perspective of you living in a world in a very different way than I am. You're walking in a world like where you don't have to think about certain things the way that I have to think about certain things. And me having the thoughts of, you know, I remember when the uprisings happened, I was like, yo, can I still be friends with Liam? Like, is this going to work? Because there are so many things that are happening inside of me, and it's not up for debate. Like, it's not up for debate. It's not one of those things where we're going to have a conversation about it. It just is. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, is Liam going to be able to accept this? And if not, we're not going to be friends anymore. You know, but when I think about those pieces, and I'm curious for you, does that ever come up, knowing that we have so many dynamics in our relationship? Do you think about any of these pieces?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because I'm sure we don't agree on all topics, right, that we discuss. I hope that we always understand that we have slightly different vantage points. And I think we both respect the humanity in each other. I don't know if that answers the question completely, but hearing what you said, it was a eureka moment for me, where it just shows that you see Vincent and I see Vincent, and in this immediate snap judgment moment, we have very different experiences right away. And I'm not trying to imply that mine was overly negative. I don't mean that. It just felt like my experience was more like, what is this? I feel like I need to understand this from the quick judgment. And it sounds like you had a more like, you saw yourself in Vincent in a lot of ways, in a way that I didn't.
But that's what I'm gathering from it. And like, I'm gathering that it was a different perspective in which, you know, we are literally in different bodies walking in a different way. And I respect that. I respect the reflection, because it's even with, when we were talking about the Cardi B episode, when it's like, yo, you're not going to play this out loud, but you'll play Jada Kiss out loud. Like, what's that about? But that's about your own shit.
Yeah.
And you figuring that out. And versus my reflection, like, there's some things I'm like, am I going to listen to this? And we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Am I doing this right now? But it's about your own reflection and your own growth, and you being able to see, oh, I'm seeing this very differently, and challenge yourself in that thought process when you see Vincent, and be able to sit here from the first episode to now. That to me is why our relationship works.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's a quality when we talk about just being in a relationship with people that I appreciate about people who I have relationships with, or people that I see out in the world that I interpret like, oh, maybe they have this quality. And
what's interesting is we have now talked about Vincent for probably 4 hours. For those that don't know, we've had a lot of technical difficulties recording this. And it's also been over a span of months. And I literally am just now thinking about this part of how we both interact with the song. And it can take a long time to kind of figure stuff out.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I think it's very clear that we think Vincent is fucking great. I'm curious, did you have YouTube? Did you peek on YouTube?
I did peek on YouTube.
Are you ready for it? You ready to go?
I got him ready to go. So Vincent is obviously like a huge cult following. The first one hits on an important duality for me. Duality is totally the wrong word, but I'm just going to use it. It's funny how he sings better than all three judges combined. And that's part of what I love and hate about this experience with this thing is Vincent A+, fucking gold star on check plus, you know, perfect performance. I can never get over the judges. You know what I'm saying? Like the way Puffy stands up and makes the whole situation like about being Puffy, and like he wants the audience to not have their interaction with Vincent. He wants the audience to see Puffy's interaction with Vincent, and I don't know. Don't get me started. And then DJ Khaled, like, I'm gonna shut up. But okay, that's one of the YouTube comments. I have another one. All right.
Okay.
The other one is, who would have thought that this arrangement has become nearly as recognizable as the original? Well done, Vincent. And to me, this is, you have a lot of covers all over the place. A great cover sounds like a different song than the original. And this really does. I love the original Creep. I also love this. And when I hear them, I don't feel like I'm listening to the same song slightly different. I'm hearing totally different interpretations of the same lyrics, and they're hitting me in totally different ways.
Mm-hmm. Dare I say it's giving Dolly Parton, Whitney Houston remake of I Will Always Love You.
Mm.
These separate versions, different interpretations, but just giving us everything, you know, and both iconic in those ways. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I agree with the comments.
Okay.
Comments are with me today.
They're on point.
They're on point. I do have some questions, and I do have some comments. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for them.
I think I mentioned this, but Vincent was at Coachella, maybe a recent Coachella, within the past 2 years, and was featured in Rolling Stone for their performance as one of the highlights of Coachella. Like, you know, you go around Coachella, you're on a stage that's not the main stage, and you cross Vincent, and you're like, oh, I fuck with this. I'm gonna stop.
Standout, yeah.
I'm gonna stop. And my ask to you, or my question to you, is: are you going to Coachella? Have you ever been to Coachella?
No, I've never been to Coachella. If I was blessed with the money, time, free time, and capability to go to Coachella, I absolutely would. In my single days, I remember when you would go on a date, like a big red flag for me was always like, I can't wait to go on Coachella. Like, if I was, okay, let me shut up. But I love the idea of Coachella, but Coachella seems like a very interesting. I know this word is a loaded word, but it just seems like a very privileged experience. Like, you have to not worry about work, money. Like, I don't, you know, and I'm older. Like, I might be aged out of Coachella. I don't know.
Who would you go see if you're going to Coachella? Like, I'm absolutely doing this. Who is that for? Is it a combination of artists, one artist, two?
I think I'll go more for the experience. That seems to be what the Coachella thing is about. It's this just like you're in a vast open area with music everywhere. I'm not a big drug person, but it still sounds like a fun. Again, given the proper circumstances, I would love to go to Coachella, but for the experience of it. But it also seems like a very few people who really get this genuine opportunity to do something like that.
Facts. So this is you're on YouTube. You might come across the show, you may not, but put it in your algorithm or make sure it falls in your algorithm. There's this show called The Terrell Show on YouTube. Have you ever heard of the show?
I have not.
Okay, Terrell is hilarious. And Terrell hilariously interviews Vincent actually twice. And maybe one 3 years ago and another one maybe like a year ago or something like that. And it's pure gold. It's pure gold. Terrell refers to Vincent as Vinny, which I won't do because Vincent was like, don't do that.
Oh, really? Okay.
But on the Terrell Show, you have to see it. Their exchange is absolutely, it's Terrell is shooting Terrell's shot. You watch the first episode and Terrell is just shooting their shot every single time with Vincent.
Like,
and it's actually chemistry.
Terrell likes Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
But it's like they have a very nice chemistry on camera together, you know, just the way that they interact. But on the show, Terrell does this thing called song association. Have you ever heard of song association before?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so that you know that when you do song association, someone will say a word and you have to pick a song that has that word in it. So you either sing on Terrell's show, you either sing a couple bars until you get to the word of the song, or in this case, rap a couple bars. But mostly Terrell has singers on the show that's just singing their ass off.
I realized I now didn't know, but now I know.
Okay. I want to do some song association with you, Leah.
All right.
You think you can do this?
I think I can do it.
Okay, I believe in you.
Do I have to sing? Like in rap? I'm not good at that.
Yeah, look, and that's what's going to make it beautiful. Nobody's expecting you to be Vincent, right? Like, come on, perfect. Here we are. So I have a couple words for you. And what I want you to do is I want you to give me, you're going to rap or sing any of the songs that you associate with the word that I give you. And I'm only going to give you, Terrell gives 11 seconds. for you to find a song.
Okay.
So I'm going to put a timer on my phone.
I'm gonna go right away. I'm not gonna. Yeah, don't worry.
You're gonna go right away.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna find this timer. I'm gonna put it on. You're not gonna know. I guess I'll just count down if you're. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, but you know.
Well, yeah, my goal is not to make it like the most thoughtful version, but as an experiment to me is what my brain connects the quickest.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna give you 11 seconds, just like Terrell does. All right. And the first word is weirdo.
Well, can I say this song? I'm a weirdo. What am I doing? Yeah.
Yes.
And it's funny. The name of the song we're doing is Creep. But to me, when I hear Vincent doing it, it's when he says weirdo that I feel like he's really like, this is my fucking moment. This is what really resonated with me.
Word. Okay. The next word is only.
Only you.
Lean into the mic. I can't hear you.
Oh, is that a song? Only you can make my dreams come true. I don't know if that's a song.
Yes. No, it is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay. The next word is, here we go. The next word is city.
What's that Journey song? The City Lights. Light in the city. I don't know.
All right,
you making me. Yeah.
We're gonna give you the little buzz on that. Okay, next word, business.
I'm a businessman. What does he say? I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Let me handle my business. Damn. Yeah.
So, side note, like in like kind of scholarly articles written by journalists, they always like highlight this as one of Jay-Z's like most profound raps. I don't like that bar. I think it's corny. It sounds like it's not subtle. I don't like that. But for some reason, that's a celebrated Jay-Z lyric and it popped in my head right away.
Okay, last one.
Yeah.
Talk.
No small talk. What's that Carrie Fox song? Yeah.
Carrie Foe.
No small talk.
If you notice, though, I put the words in there. A lot of them are with artists we covered. Okay. The lyrics are in. I thought you were gonna do only. You're the one. You're the only one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Atlantic City.
Yeah.
The city one. All right. What does your dad have to say?
Can I make one last point before we go on?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. One thing that watching this performance felt like is it's almost like when you see in the movie, there's like this underdog moment where like you don't know what this person is capable of. They're marginalized for many different reasons. And then they're held down. They're not given the opportunity. Things keep going wrong. Life keeps getting in the way. And then finally get this one singular moment and everyone is watching. And then they motherfucking shut shit down. And to me, I think of like Eminem in the last battle sequence of 8 Mile, where he finally like destroys the group. I think of Rosie Perez and White Men Can't Jump. Do you remember that movie? And she has to get on Jeopardy and she fucking shuts shit down. I mean, remember, to me, this performance evokes the same kind of empowering emotion of like, I can do anything as those movies do. And fucking way to go, Vincent. Cause like, that's a whole fucking movie that gets you to this emotional point. You have to see this whole 2-hour context. And in literally 45 seconds, Vincent gets you to the same place that took those movies such a long time to get to. So way to go, Vincent. I think it's amazing. Okay. Now we need to figure out if Vincent is actually famous. Now, unfortunately, amongst the technical...
famous?
Yeah, there you go. Well, this is now we put a whole new twist on it because my dad is not available this week. So I had to ask my wife to provide some context. I think my wife and my dad are, in a certain perspective, totally not comparable. On another perspective, they're very comparable. So from their experience in the world, they're not comparable. But from their knowledge of kind of American pop culture, I think they are comparable. So my wife is from another country. She grew up there and she moved here. So she's aware of big time famous stuff, more subtle stuff she does not know. So the question for you is, do you know my wife? Do you think my wife knows who Vincent is?
No.
We'll find out. Do you know an artist by the name of Vincint?
No.
That's very matter of fact.
There I am again. I'm telling you, I'm legendary. I'm legendary. I think I probably have like 1 or 2 misses. What's your singular most fantastical moment?
I want the perfect body, when he really just like shreds into it, and like you can feel like his like it's like almost like his body is shaking as he's delivering this line, because it's so meaningful to him. I love that part of it.
And then I'm gonna jump in and say I want the perfect soul.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're together. It's amazing. Oh, it's amazing. Powerful. Where can people find and listen to the song?
So YouTube, you get the visual thing. You can understand the judge dynamic that I was talking about, literally how you maybe perceive Vincent as your own listener. And that's one experience, but I invite you very much so to go on Spotify, go to our playlist, or just type it in and experience it as a standalone audio piece. Because I really believe a listener will experience it in 2 different ways. And I invite you to do both. So Spotify, YouTube, all the normal stuff.
And share with us your perspective. How did you experience this moment in music? And like we asked, should we keep the first Vincint episode on? Vincint definitely deserves the second one, the 2.0 episode. But we want to know, give us your feedback at whatsperfectreallypodcast@gmail.com. But you can also hit us up on Instagram at whatsperfectreallypodcast, or on Twitter at whatsperfectreally without the vowels. So it's WHTSPRFCTRLY. And we invite you to take what you want from this podcast and leave what you don't, because ain't nobody perfect. Peace, y'all.
Hello. You are watching an informative video to learn more about an English word. Perfect. 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 Definitions of perfect. Adjective. Having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics, as good as it is possible to be. Perfect.